All right, folks, in today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. And this is not going to be your normal knife review. I'll tell you this, one thing you're not going to see in this video is a guy who starts out and has a really cool slow motion of some water bottles being cut open with their knife. I don't know about you guys, but here in Deep East Texas, I've never been walking through the woods and thought to myself, I'd really like to cut this unopened water bottle up. So today, we're not doing it in slow motion. Watch this. That's good water. That water's been real good to us, guys. So in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the Spiderco, and this is the Bow River. It's actually a pretty sweet knife. So let's get into the video. Part of our process and progress that we're going to be doing this year is we're actually going to be applying a scoring system to the knives. So instead of just doing a generic review and giving you my opinion, we've got 7 different categories that we're going to be breaking everything down. We're going to be showing you the results, and we're going to be showing you on screen the actual score as we run this knife through the Heartland test. Most knife reviews are opinions. This is a repeatable test anyone can understand. Each knife is going to be graded the same way. We're going to do a sharpness, we're going to do a cutting performance, edge retention, handle comfort, build quality, carry system, and most importantly, the value for a working man. Knife specs, quick hit. The Spiderco Bow River is designed with master knife maker Phil Wilson. Here's what you're going to get. You're going to get a 4.36-inch full flat grind blade. It's made with 8CR13 MOV stainless steel. Man, that's a mouthful. It's got a full tang construction, and if that's where the blade runs all the way through the handle, you can see that metal there. It's got G10 custom scales, which actually look pretty slick. I like that kind of black and gray or black and white color. Really cool looking. And honestly, a really nice leather sheath is included. This is a knife built for hunting, camping, fishing, and everyday outdoor work. All right, so we're going to start out with a sharpness test right out of the box. And I've also got to say this knife we've actually had for about 1.5 years. It's been in our John boat, it's been in my kayak, it's been in our hunting pack. I just haven't used it. Just bear in mind, we have had this thing for a little over 1 year now. I just simply haven't used it. So this is going to be a sharpness test as close as you can get to right out of a box 1 year later. Well, there we go, guys. Let's start out. It needs some honing, and that probably is my fault for not actually using it and leaving it, but it's pretty dang sharp. So that's going to be the paper test. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a tomato test. Yep, slices without sawing. Now that's clean. Tomato, yep, slices without sawing. Let's try some paracord. This is just your normal 550 paracord, and we're just gonna look at that. Push cut right through it. Ah, look at that, there's a little burr. All right, let's try it again. Push cut. Push cut. Almost all the way through without very little slicing. But it's cutting through, I'd say 90%. I'm just not shoving that blade all the way down into that cutting board. Looks like the Spiderco came ready to cut. So on the sharpness and geometry, I think we're gonna give this a 12 out of 14. Not quite razor surgeon sharp, but very, very good. All right, category 2, this is gonna be real world cutting performance. We're gonna start out with some 1/2 inch, and this is just some regular old rope that you could buy at Harbor Freight. That's where I got it at. and let's see how it cuts on it. Man, that stuff is tough. For a Harbor Freight rope, I'd say that's pretty dang tough. We are going to have to do some slicing to get through that. That's a tough test, but it's also a real world test. That might be something that you actually have around camp or at the lake or something like that. Next test we're going to do, we're going to cut a piece of cardboard. So we'll move this out of the way. This is just your normal Amazon box that you'd get your knife in from Amazon. One slice, it's cutting that no problem at all. This is, again, something that you would do maybe on a daily basis, depending on what you do. But I do like, man, I like how well that goes through there. And it's just slicing it nicely. Next, we're going to actually do a little camp test. Say you're trying to set up camp and you're out there in the woods, you're going to need let's face it, sometimes we get there, we've lost a tent stake, something like that. So let's kind of look and see how good we could cut a tent stake. And this is an old piece of wood, and it is dry, and I'm probably trying to take too big of bites with it. There's a knot right there. That's always going to slow down your process. So let's just kind of draw that. I'm just banging the crud out of that. This is not as easy when you're trying to film it. We're going to avoid that knot because that's not fair to the test. And go back around to this side. A little knot right there, we just whacked right through. And we got a bonus round if you guys can tell me what kind of wood this is for you woodsmen out there. But there you go, pretty dang quick. We whittled up a nice little tent stake. We're not going to dress the end down here, but you could. The Bow River handles rope like a champ. That rope is tough, guys, so if you think that this knife's struggling, go buy some of this. I can't remember how much it costs, but like I said, this is what the package looks like, 1/2 inch by 50 foot. If you guys can say that, whatever kind of rope that is, sisal rope, Harbor Freight, I don't know, like $5, but that stuff's really strong. I think it would also make good fire tinder too. We'll do another video with that down the road. There's a big difference between what we were doing just a second ago and then holding a piece of cardboard out here and kind of cutting through it and slicing it. The knife definitely cuts through nicely, but I like this test that we was doing a minute ago where we're pressing against the cutting board. I think that's kind of a truer test to the sharpness of the knife. Again, guys, if you think that it looked like it was struggling a little, I encourage you to go buy some of that rope. This rope is actually pretty dang tough, and it is more difficult to cut it when you're trying to cut it straight down on a cutting board. But I challenge you with your knife. I think the knife did a good job. Cardboard breakdown, that's generally where your cheap knives usually struggle. But with that flat grind, it bites nicely into the cardboard and just cuts right through it. And as bushcraft basics, I think it did a really good job on cutting up the little stick we had. If you guys were using a softer wood like pine, it would be a lot quicker and a lot simpler, but I just wanted to show you that was actually hardwood. Again, comment down below if you know what it is. But that did a really good job, made short work of making out a tent stake or any other like camp tool that you may need. The score on this, we're going to be giving it for the cutting performance is 14 out of 16. The next category is edge retention and sharpening. 8 CR, 13 MOV isn't a super steel. But here's the good news, it sharpens easy. This is a working man's steel. After cardboard and rope, let's see if it still slices paper. just not quite as clean. Category 4 is going to be the handle, comfort, and grip. The G10 scales and the contoured grip are not leaving any kind of hot spots. Of course, this is going to be a really quick deal. It's not like I've been using it for a year straight. I'm just telling you the little bit I've been handling it. It feels really good in the hand. It does feel a tiny bit slick to me. Hang on, I'm gonna go get my hand wet and let's see how that does. Oddly enough, I think it actually grips a little bit better with my hand being wet, and that could be partly because it is wintertime and my hands are dry, but it actually feels a little more, I don't know, it's just got a good grip to it. I do like how you've got this cutout here so you can kind of inch up a little bit, and it's gonna guard and protect your finger, keep you from accidentally slicing it. If you are using this in a situation where maybe you're skinning something and your hands are gonna get wet, you guys can understand what I'm saying. I don't feel like this knife's gonna slip out of your hand and you're just gonna lose control of what you're trying to do when you're processing game. Category 4, handle, comfort, and grip. Spiderco is gonna get a 13 out of 14. Category 5 is gonna be build quality and materials. The full tang, like we mentioned earlier, runs all the way through the entire handle. It's a good solid fit and finish. There's no gaps, there's no weird grinding marks. And for the price, I think Spiderco did it great. And then for a little bonus round, if you guys know what this hole is for, I know why they're in some others. And I know that there's a story behind the hole, especially if you guys have ever had the Spiderco pocket knives. They put the hole in there for quick opening. That's not for quick opening. You guys let me know what it's for. Full tang, solid fit and finish, no gap, no grinding marks. I think Spiderco did it right. And for this category, they're gonna get a score of 12 out of 14. Category 6 is gonna be the sheath and how you can carry it practically. I'm really impressed with this leather sheath. Not only is it done nicely, you've got a welt through here to keep you from cutting through the threads. It is sewn, and then you've also got the rivets going across here. I really think that if you take care of this, this will be something you can pass down to your great grandkids, because it's a really well made knife and sheath. So for the sheath carry practicality, we're going to give it a score of 13 out of 14. It's got a good retention, it looks classy, and it rides well on the belt. That little short loop keeps this knife tucked up nice next to your body, and then if you'll use the hole, which is for a lanyard, you can actually, with this knife going that far down in there, I kind of like the lanyard so that you can get a better grip and pull it out. But as nice as this thing fits in here, and you can see this, guys, it ain't gonna fall out. I don't particularly like snaps on my knife cases or sheaths. I love this. It fits great. And if you wanted it even better, you could actually wet form this and make it even tighter. So the scoring system is going to be 13 out of 14. Category 7, which is our last category, and it's going to be value for the working man. The score on this is going to be the totality of this knife. This knife comes in right at $50 on Amazon for a fixed blade knife that's designed by Phil Wilson. That's just dang hard to beat. You're not paying for hype, you're paying for function. The score on that, 13 out of 14, because I just don't think you can beat it when you're talking about the price. The final score reveal. If you guys have been adding all this up, we're going to go over it real quick. Sharpness straight out of the box, you got a 12 out of 14. Cutting, you got a 14 out of 16. Edge retention, you got a 10 out of 14. The handle and comfort, you got a 13 out of 14. Build quality, I think, and I should probably almost edge this up to 13 or 14, but we do have to leave room for improvement. Build quality, we're going to go with a 12 out of 14. The carry system itself, you're getting right up there about as good as you can get at 13 out of 14. And value, man, if it was $49.95, I think we'd go ahead and give it a 15, but since you're just a smidge over and right at that $50 up, it's getting that 13 out of 14 score. So for the grand total, That's 87 points out of 100. Again, this isn't my opinion. This is just how the scores are going to be breaking down for this knife. So the Spiderco Bow River earns an 87 out of 100. That's a strong start for the Heartland Knife Standard. Let me know, comment down below. What do you think about this standard? Do you think it's cheesy, or do you like it? Comment down below and let us know. If we're missing a category, comment down below. We can always add to this or take away. And if you guys are really interested, we'll post a link over at Heartland Leatherworks, which is our website, and you can download the PDF of how we're actually breaking down and how the numbers are all going to correlate. And that we're doing just to try to take any of the bias out of a knife. Whether somebody sent me this for free or whether I work just like you, hard for my money, and I go out and I buy it and I spend my hard-earned cash on it. I want to be as fair as I can on an overall review. All right, folks, before we wrap up our first official Heartland Knife Score review, it's time for something else new that we're going to be adding to each and every knife that we test going forward this year. And welcome to the very first Heartland Knife Skills of the week. Because out here, a knife isn't proven by the specs on paper. It's proven by what it can do at camp, home, out in the field, or wherever you're going to be going. Now, with the Spiderco being a flat grind blade, this isn't a really dedicated feather stick bushcrafting knife. This is more of a camp knife for chores, hunting, cooking, a utility knife, a hunter's knife. It's going to be great for skinning deer, field dressing deer, and using it out in the field. And then, as we showed at the very beginning of the video, you could see how nicely it was slicing up tomatoes. So if you're like me and all you really have is this is your steak knife officially sitting around camp. It's going to do a great job cutting your steaks. It's going to do a great job cutting your potatoes. So we're going to go into that, and we're going to kind of show you how this thing will work in the real world. Tent steaks
all around,
or tomahawk steaks, either way, it's going to do a great job. Whether you're cutting potatoes for camp fries, prepping onions, or slicing meat, a good outdoor knife should glide clean and controlled. Watch how easily this blade makes thin slices of potatoes. That flat grind geometry is doing exactly what it's designed to do. And if you guys are like me and you love those shoestring French fries, this knife is a real winner for that as well.